Hey there, CAC. Thrayton here. I just wanted to take a minute to personally thank you guys for everything you've done for the community. In my opinion, artwork has always been this big aspect of the fandom, and you guys are doing a great thing by sharing it with people and discussing all these individual pieces and everything that goes into them. It's so much more than people typically do when they're scrolling through a page of pony art. They just think, oh, that's nice, and then they keep on scrolling. Very seldom do they take the time to soak in all the little details that make that piece special. Now, I've only followed very few pony podcasts like ever, but I think it's safe to say that yours is probably one of the very few, if not the only one, that specifically deals with art. And you guys do a great job of it. And even outside that fact, I don't think there's another podcast that manages to capture just this perfect balance between entertaining and informative, between personal and professional. All of you guys have this great charisma, and it all just comes together to make the Cutie Art Crusaders something that we as fans look forward to every week. It's amazing. You guys have something truly special on your hands here, and I don't know if we as the fans, or you as the creators even, fully realize the true extent of what we're dealing with here. When your show isn't inspiring people to pick up a pencil or a paintbrush or what have you and try to make art for themselves, it's impressing upon them this greater understanding of artwork. You're teaching them how to think artistically. They leave with this greater appreciation for what goes into a piece of artwork. They can look at a piece and understand how the artist made it. They can pick out all the style and color choices and subtle nuances that mean something and make the piece unique. Through the Cutie Art Crusaders, people are better able to see the beauty in the world around them, and that is just an amazing thing. And I just wanted to thank you guys for that. Rainbow Plasma, Burned, Flutterguy, Atmospark, you're all awesome, and you do an amazing job. I figured the holidays was as good a time as any to tell you guys that. Probably not as good as an anniversary or something, but still, just thanks again. Thank you so much. And I'd like to wish all of you and all of your followers a very happy hearthwarming and best wishes for a very, very bright and promising new year. Thanks for everything, guys. With love, Brayton. P.S. Rainbow Plasma, get off my back. I'm gonna make some more artwork soon, okay? Chill. Okay?
Hello and welcome to episode 79 of the Cutie Art Crusaders for January 7th, 2013. Welcome back, guys. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and this week's editor, and today I'm joined by
Flutterguy317, and I am the media manager for the podcast.
I'm Atmospark. I do the questions.
Yay. And Burned is not here.
No.
Yeah, Burn's still in Germany.
Yeah.
How dare he have a holiday?
I know.
There is art to be looked at. Dang it.
Yeah, I don't think he actually gave us a return date,
No.
but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he said he'd be back before next week's recording. So he should be back for next week. But
I
again,
would
he's
hope.
he's out for this week. But he did manage to miss 2 really awesome episodes.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll teach him to go on extravagant holidays without notice.
Yeah.
He did say he went to a German art museum, though.
That's true. Or he did say
that he was going to one. I don't know if he actually got there.
Well, by the time this comes out, I'm sure he probably will have gone. Knowing Burned,
yeah.
he always has to go to an art museum no matter where he goes. I mean, we went to one when we were in Portland,
Which was phenomenal, yeah. Well,
yeah, we went
yeah.
to Portland.
It's pretty good.
I went to an art fair in Chicago.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We all did art
I guess
stuff.
people don't really. I guess did we? tell people that we stayed with Byrne for like a week before?
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, we did.
I'm just. Sometimes it's hard to remember what I've told other people and what I've told the podcast.
Yeah, no, and we said that we went to a Portland art museum and that we saw a Albert Bierstadt piece.
It was like 6 months ago, so
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
So if you're just joining us now,
Yeah. You've got a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Yeah.
Almost 79 weeks worth.
But this might be an interesting episode for you guys to watch if this is your first one that you're watching.
Fun fact, we've been going, this is our exactly a year and a half episode. No, sorry, last week was.
What the heck are you talking
fail.
about?
A year and a half. It's like
Technically, we took a week off though.
yeah, but when I was going back to look for art for this week's episode, current episode 78 minus 52 is 26. So
Right,
year and a half.
Yeah. I don't really know. We usually celebrate like bigger things. Like we'll do like a year, and we'll do
We should do 100.
like 2 years.
Yeah,
and
I'm just
stuff
saying.
like that.
See.
But 100's like 104 is then the 2 year.
The 2 year.
So
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to come down to which one is more convenient for us.
Yeah.
Is it going to be 100 or 104?
Yeah.
Because if 100 we're off at a con, then we're not going to do one. And then if it's 104, then we'll just like wait. Or if we've got a con at 104, then we'll do the 100. Whichever one's easier. We've got a little bit of we've got about a month of flexibility, which is nice.
But hopefully we don't have to do like 101 or 102.
We'll figure something out. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you sent me an interesting picture yesterday of your car thermometer.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was-
Yeah, so I sent a picture, and I guess I'll have to take this off my phone and put it on the screen. It was negative 21 outside, and my car usually isn't the best reader of it, so I actually went online to check what the weather was in my city, and it was a high of negative 22, with a low of like negative 29. So it's really, really cold here, and it stayed that way again today. Like it's still like a negative 23 out right now, probably lower because it's later at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently it's going to get much warmer. Like it's going to go up to like 0 within a couple days, which is really nice.
That's good.
Because I'm going back to school soon, so I'm actually going to have to like go out more often.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for the
Where
past
I
week.
live,
Yeah.
the expected top today is 32. It's currently 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's 36.
that is, you know, 32 isn't horrible.
It's not that
but yeah,
bad, but
you are
36
living
is
in a
gonna
different
be-
hemisphere.
No, 32
so.
is the
yeah.
expected top. It's currently 36. It's more, and it's not even midday yet.
Jeez.
Yeah,
So,
you live in the middle of an Australian summer, and I live in the middle of a Canadian winter. So either way, we've got pretty bad weather.
it's like the extreme opposites. And I'm more towards your end, Plasma.
Yeah.
Because I think it was like negative 11 today, maybe negative 16 where I am.
That's not exactly warm.
No,
So.
it was really cold. And I had to-
Negative 20 is scary though. Like once you get into that's kind of like hitting 40 in terms of warm. Like once you hit 40, that's like heat stroke territory.
Yeah.
And you know, like it becomes more than just a hey, some idiot stayed out all day kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's more of like a no, you can get this. Like the average person can get heat stroke in 40. The average person can get really bad like frostbite in negative 20
Yeah.
if you're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're dying slowly here.
Slowly.
I've also been like the thing about winter is that I don't like winter because it doesn't have that much sunlight. Like don't get me wrong, I'm a pretty indoorsy kind of person, but you know, sunlight is so essential for like moods, and like having the sun go down at 4:30 today. Like we're recording this and it's like what 6:30 now. Like the sun's already been out for like 2 hours, and it's just like it sucks so much.
Yeah.
I hate it.
By the way-
that's my least favorite part of the winter.
I think that's the first time we actually mentioned the time that we record.
Well, it's different every single week. But
Yeah, that's true, because we like to kind of
yeah.
Saturday morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my least favorite part of the winter is the shorter days for sure. I like having more sunlight. I think you were mentioning Atmos Spark something about vitamin D that might have something to do with it. I haven't researched it or looked it up or anything, but all I know is that when less sunlight rolls around, I become more and more like grumpy. So
you need your daily dose of vitamin Doge.
Vitamin Doge.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll pick up some vitamin D at the store and see how that helps.
Anyhow,
speaking of vitamin art.
So you, sneaky devil, we had no idea what the theme was going to be until like we sat down at our computer today, and
well, to be fair, most of that was because I'm like awful this week at organizing things, not necessarily because I was sneaky, but because I was awful at organizing things.
Okay,
but
so you unorganized.
Yes. So, but like I had an idea of something fun that we could do for the new, because like last year when we were doing our New Year stuff, and this has been a year since this happened, but last year we did our like fan art thing for the first time, and like that's when we realized that all of you are nuts and send in tons of amazing fan art.
It's true.
And so like last year was kind of preoccupied, but this year we didn't have the same thing, and I didn't want to do another fan art thing. You know, I think we've reached a point now where we don't need to ask for fan art anymore.
No, we expect it.
And jeez, that's wrong. But you know, I thought we should do something fun for the new year. I mean, we did do something fun for the holidays. We just did that, so that was kind of funky. But you know, I like doing stuff for the new year, and even though it's just another day, you know, I do kind of like looking back at stuff. So I decided that it would be fun to do a kind of like recap of the year based on some of our favorite pieces that we featured, which is why it's too bad that Byrne isn't here, but it's probably better for time that he isn't.
And we all know what art piece he would pick anyway. So
that's true. So I asked everyone to gather 3 art pieces that they thought were their favorites. Not necessarily the best, not necessarily this or that, just, you know, art pieces that we looked through the last year of art and we said, oh, I like this one, I like this one, I like this one, narrow it down to 3. And, you know, we would talk about those for a little bit, not really go too in depth, but we'd mention that, we'd mention the episode it came from, and we just talk about it a little bit more, just briefly. And then we would also bring up one art piece that hasn't been on the show, but we would like to have on the show, or, you know, or just an art piece that we liked in general that wasn't on the show. So that's our kind of format for today. We're gonna have 12 art pieces in total, 3 from each of us, and then that fourth one from each of us. But yeah, does that make sense? Did I explain that well enough, guys?
I guess.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing anyway. Everyone else just sit back and listen.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. All right, so to make it even more even, because we always do like an order with these things, and I think it's kind of meh sometimes that we always have an order. So I thought it would be fun if we started doing stuff a little bit more randomly.
This is really not like you. You're like so organized. This episode is just like, yeah, we'll go out of order.
Well, like, I don't know. I just think it's more fun than it. You know, we always have the same order all the time, so I think we should mix it up a little bit. The same with this episode. I think we should mix it up a little bit every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to random.org and min 1, max 3. I'll be 1.
This episode's sponsored by random.org, by the way.
No, it's not. I will be 1. Flutter Guy, you will be 2. Okay. And Atmos Spark, you will be 3. And
Atmos Spark's always 3.
Well, Atmos Spark's going first this time because I just rolled a 3.
Okay, then.
You're number 1.
I'm number 3.
Oh.
Where's my list again? Lost my list. There it is. Okay. So, I'm ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to go in the order that I've got written down here. So, my first one is from the Burn and Pinky Dash Show, episode 39. It's Flitter, Cloud Chaser, and Rainbow by Mystic Alpha. I chose this one for that episode as well, because I absolutely love Mystic Alpha's style. I also really, really love Cloud Chaser. So, this whole thing is just fantastic for me. For those of you who may or may not know, I actually got a commission for Mystic Alpha, and it's adorable. It's very similar to this actually with the blue background like that, just a simple gradient background, which is quite effective because it brings out the characters. Yeah, I don't know what else I can say about this. I just really like this piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you really do like Cloud Chaser and Flitter. Do you like their color schemes, or do you like I know Cloud Chaser's got like a really original kind of design to it.
I do like the colors. Yes.
I like their hair, actually. The hair design is pretty
I think
nice.
Cloud Chaser's got a really interesting design because it's not just the hair, but it's also like she's got like extra eyeliner on, which is a really interesting touch.
Yep.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I do like Cloud Chaser.
I really like Mystic Alpha's style as well, and we featured him quite a few times. He's really nice, really good.
Less so recently, but
Yeah.
more so in the beginning. But yeah, he's got a really clean, interesting style that he uses, and he uses an atypical. I think he uses like Manga Studio 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's an atypical kind of style, but he also does a lot of work in progress stuff, and you see a lot of like videos on YouTube that he does kind of like time lapses too. So
Yeah.
has a lot of cool stuff and does a lot of stuff. So it's pretty Mystic Alpha is pretty cool, dude.
And if you feel like getting a commission from him, it's definitely worth it. So next one. Unless you guys have anything more to say about it. Nope. Okay.
Nope.
My next one is from episode 69, The Princess of Love, which is Cadence. It's the Morning Mi Amor, which is Cadence and Shining Armor, where Shining Armor is completely passed out on the bed. And Cadence is just lying there staring at him lovingly. I just love the emotion in this piece.
Yeah, that really spoke to me too. I remember when we were doing this episode, because this one actually wasn't that long ago. It was only 10 episodes ago. I remember talking about this one in particular, and JJ's a really popular artist, and he does a lot of really cool stuff, but it was kind of a strangely serious moment for him.
Yeah, this isn't the one that we actually featured in that episode. This is the one we sort of did a side thing on.
We still kind of featured it. It was still in there for sure.
I like JJ's stuff, but I'm not his biggest fan. This one, because it's mostly really quick sort of stuff. This one looks like he put a bit more effort into it, and I really like the way it's turned out.
Yeah.
JJ has a couple of different styles, and I'm a fan of some more than others, and this style really works with him. It's like a painterly kind of. It's really nice.
Yeah. It seems like he's it seems like he put a lot of thought into this one for sure, and it really comes out with the emotions of it, and yeah, it's quite a nice piece. I remember liking it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Also, I would love to be Shining Armor and just be able to sleep.
Sleep is nice.
Sleep, cuddle up to a pony, or just sleep.
Oh, both. Whatever.
Okay, next one is from episode number 73, which is Philomena. It's called Philomena by Underpurple. Underpurple. And I can't pinpoint exactly why I love this piece, but I think it's just purely because of the simplicity. It's really effective for what it is. I love the simplicity in not just this, but in a lot of things, like the previous one and even the one before that. It's all really simple. There's no big flashy in it, and it's really, really well done, and I love it.
Yeah, I really like the styling in this, and I like the line art because it's a lot of artists do this as they'll like vary the width of the line art, and I don't know, it just makes it really cute and simplistic and stuff.
Yeah, and Underpurple's got a great style, and I remember, first kind of coming across him this year, and I've always wanted to feature more and more by him, or her, I don't know, probably him. It's him.
Andrew, Russian.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to feature more from him as we've gone on, but unfortunately, a lot of his stuff isn't perfect for the show, so it's hard to fit stuff in, but he's got a great style, and it's really cute too. He's made a lot of really cute pieces as well.
I love the kind of the upturned nose on Celestia. That like gives her such a cuteness. Like it's like a Dr. Seuss kind of thing.
He's a really cute style.
Yeah, I agree. It's adorable.
It is very, very cute. And Philomena just stands out properly. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, those are my three. Are we doing the fourth one now, or are we waiting?
No. What we'll do is we'll do all of our three. Like, you'll do your three, and then someone else will do their three, and then we'll go through the fourth ones, and we'll talk about those ones a little bit more at the end. So, back to random.org.
1 to 2.
I will be 1, you will be 2.
Okay.
Da, da, da. Ha! It was you. There you go. So now it's your turn,
okay.
Mr. Flutter Guy.
So for my first piece, I chose Applejack by Meow, which we featured in episode 72, Autumn.
Let's be honest. You picked this one because you like to say the name.
Yes. And also because Applejack. But,
That's true.
And Yanyo. So such a good name. I like this piece. I don't know. I like the messy styling in this piece. And I'm also a really big fan of the colors used. Just because it's kind of on the warmer side of the piece, and I'm a big fan of that. Obviously Applejack, favorite pony, warmer colors.
Yeah.
But I also, when we were talking about this piece in the Autumn episode, we kind of brought up like the messy brush strokes and the big strokes in the foreground on the bushes and stuff like that, and that kind of gives this piece character. And I don't know, I really like the intricacies of it.
What episode number was this again? Sorry.
Episode 72.
72.
Autumn.
We're trying to put in the episode names and numbers for you guys. So if you guys want to go back and look at this episode and see what we had to talk about, talk about this piece a little bit more, then you can go back and do that. So I just want to make sure that we do that for all of our pieces. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I like the way that orange is used not only in the character but also in the scenery as well. It really complements each other, and I kind of like more monochromatic or at least analogous kind of colors together.
Yeah.
So this is a really cool, and orange itself, I really love the color orange. And I don't see it enough in a more prominent role. Usually it's as a highlight or as a small bright spot. But things like sunsets or autumn leaves are great for kind of bringing out orange into the main part of the piece, and that's a really awesome thing that I like to see.
Yeah. Well, that whole episode that we did in Autumn was centered around orange, basically.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love how orange is used throughout the piece, and there's also the purples, which Bernd has turned me on to because of that purple episode.
Yeah.
So that's a nice touch. Anyone have anything else to say? All right. So next piece that I chose is called Friendly Fleas and Fireflies by My Magic Dream. And this comes from episode 61, Books. And I chose this piece because, once again, I like the colors used. In this piece, it's more of the color highlights, like the pinkish around the book and all these little fireflies and fleas, I guess.
Butterflies.
Yeah. Butterflies, fireflies. Yeah.
Fire butterflies. They're kind of like a combo.
Yeah. And like all of the different like little kind of hints of color on Twilight, and that's what really draws me into this piece, something like that. Yeah. And I'm also, again, a fan of the really messy brushstrokes. I don't know why, I really like them.
Yeah, the background here is very, very implied. And I mean, even if, it might be implied, but I don't even know what it's implying either, other than bushes, but it's got a lot of bushes. Extreme colors, and it's very imaginative, and it's got a great kind of, sense of wonder to it. And it's not, I think we talked a little bit about this one being an example of, an expressionist piece.
Very much.
Or expressionistic.
Yeah.
An expressionistic, not expressionist.
Yeah.
An expressionistic piece. It kind of doesn't really have any aspects of realism, but it conveys a lot of emotions and it conveys a lot of feeling behind it, just using, like you said, extreme colors and very, very messy brushwork when it comes to the background. It obviously tightens up a lot when it comes to the character.
Yeah.
But the background itself is quite messy.
Yeah. Well, like between the last piece and this piece, I'm kind of a sucker for, obviously well done colors, but I really enjoy like color highlights or uses of like extreme color in a really well done manner, like these highlights in this piece.
Yeah, I like when you look at these highlights of pink and purple, you can see that they're so bright that they're not just light pink and purple. It's almost like they get whiter in the center. It's a really interesting trick that you can use because, with lights, with colors with pigments, the more intense they get, the darker they get generally. But with lights, the more intense they get, the whiter they get.
Yeah.
So, when you look at a really intense purple light, it'll start to go white in the middle because the light just gets so intense that it's not just purple anymore. So it was a really interesting touch to do that in this piece, and I don't actually see it done a whole lot.
Yeah. I know, that's why, I think Meow does it quite a bit, and My Magic Dream is known for it, and Raiko Illis does it quite a bit too. So
Notice that too.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all three of those artists. All right, so my last piece for this little 3-piece shindig is called MLP Morning and Evening Ponies by Blixit. And I absolutely love this piece because it is a watercolor and it is done in a way that really highlights watercolor, the style of watercolor.
And what you can do with it.
Yeah. Because it's very tightly controlled, in Twilight's mane, up near her head, and also in the ponies and stuff. But you get this nice flowing manes, and the water in the background is really well done. And there's a lot of, it's not negative space. It's I can't remember the term. Brent's gonna kill me.
Subtraction.
The not painting the background. Really well done.
Yeah. There's a term for that, but I don't know what it is.
I can't remember it.
Yeah.
And we also got to meet Blixit at BronyCon, and so I bought a print of this piece.
I was gonna say, I thought you bought a print of it.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And we saw the original, which was in the Traveling Pony Museum. So,
right. We talked about that as well. This piece has come up a couple times.
Yes.
In the last little bit.
The first time we talked about it was in episode 51, painting.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I've always been amazed with people who can do watercolors so well and so detailed and with such distinct lines. I think we talked a little bit, I believe last week, about watercolors and how they are generally thought to be quite loose, and so when we see something that doesn't look like a watercolor and we learn that it is a watercolor, it's kind of like you get that wow factor.
Yeah.
Because you expect watercolor to be messy and kind of seeping over lines and stuff, but in this case it doesn't. Well, it does kind of in the hair of Rainbow Dash and a little bit in the water. But in general, you don't see a huge amount of that. And the stuff that is bleeding through is completely intentional, which is cool.
Yeah, that's what I really like about this piece. There's a lot of really well done watercolors, but the bleeding effect in this piece is definitely done intentionally and definitely really well thought out, especially in the background with Rainbow Dash's mane and with the ground with the water. And that's just really, really nice in this piece.
Yeah, it shows what can be done with watercolors. When a lot of people, if you've never played with watercolors before, you just pick it up and make a brushstroke, it just goes everywhere. But this shows what can be done with it with enough practice.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about it in the painting episode, that you use different thicknesses of paper and special paper specifically for watercolors, so that the water seeps in a certain way, so that you can control it a little better
and be absorbed.
I suppose my only experience personally with watercolor was in grade school.
Yeah.
So.
I had
maybe it's a little bit easier than I'm thinking, but it's still impressive.
I used finger paints in grade school.
I think my first experience with watercolors when I was painting and I sneezed.
Well, that's good.
All right. So those are my 3 pieces.
And now, Max, you going to go with the random number generator again?
Yeah, totally. Let's generate with a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 1.
0.5.
It didn't actually let me.
Oh, yeah.
When I put min 1 max 1, it changed it to min 1 max 2.
What about min 0 max 1?
And I actually just generated it 3 times and it didn't hit 1. It didn't hit 1 at all. So I guess it's not my turn. No, it's my turn.
Yeah.
So, my 3 pieces that I picked. Well, the first one is by Celebiyoshi. It came from our Celebiyoshi episode, number 66, which is great because it's a technicality, because it was an interview episode, so totally technical that we featured this. But we did talk about this one quite a bit, and it's Princess Cadence. It's our Princess Cadence piece. And I picked this one in particular because not only is it a great piece by itself, it's got great shading and a great use of light, and I really love the style of it and just in general, the expressions of it, but also just because of that jewel in the middle and how amazing that still is to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of the crazier effects that I've seen, because you can do tons of effects in Photoshop or whatever program you use, but I haven't seen one so kind of well integrated into an otherwise quote unquote normal piece.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of this piece isn't layered with a bunch of these crystallized effects or something, and it doesn't look like it's a Photoshop filter or anything like that, and I don't even know if it is. It could just be manual. I'm pretty sure we talked to her in it. I'm pretty sure it might have been manual, but either way, it's incredible, and I love the contrast between that crystal heart and how detailed it is,
Mm-hmm.
and how soft the lighting is from it, and how soft the pony feels from it,
Mm-hmm. We did talk to her about the heart specifically, and she said that like she had no idea what she was doing going into it, if I remember correctly, and that she created it all like from scratch, and it came out really well.
Well, if you want to know for sure, then you should probably watch our Celebiyoshi episode.
For sure.
It's more motivation to look back on it. Well, also Cadence is best princess.
Yeah.
No, Twilight is best princess.
Doesn't count.
I really like the composition in this piece, because it's basically a heart shape, which also happens to be Cadence, Princess of Love.
Yeah,
her cutie mark and whatnot.
There's kind of that heart shape with her wings, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's obviously done intentionally, because we talked to her and she said it was done intentionally that way.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also see it just from looking at the image that it was done intentionally, and it's really nice.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this piece, and usually I've got quite an emotional attachment to things, but I usually found that the stuff that I picked here was because of really cool technical feats. I do like emotional stuff, but I find that stuff on this show speaks to me less emotionally, perhaps, and speaks more to my like cool technical side of things. There are some really cool techniques that are used that I like to see, kind of like the odd techniques, or things that I really enjoy looking at. And so kind of that aspect of a different style encapsulated within the entire piece and still managing to not look out of place was pretty incredible to me.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so my second piece here was from our Lyra episode, number 64. And it was called it was called Anthropology. I believe it's supposed to be Anthropology because it's based on a fan fiction that's called Anthropology. But I believe it was misspelt or something. Maybe it's a pun that I'm just not getting. Anyways, this piece was obviously of Lyra sitting in between these two kind of separated fields. And I liked not only the kind of triangular composition that it had there with the 3 different fields, but I also just like the style in general, and the diverse amount of styles within this piece. It's weird how technically there is, like, I would consider 4 different styles. When you look at the left, you've got Bon Bon in her style in that entire environment. You've got the right with the more kind of realistic person style, and in the middle you've got Lyra, and then there's also like a little sketch style in there too. You've got so many different diverse types of style that it really kind of blows me away. And I also just I look at each one, and it's not like sometimes if you put 4 different styles into a piece, you'll be like, all right, well, I like that one and I don't like that one, and I like this one and I don't like that one. This one I really do enjoy every single one and how it all kind of comes together and feels like it still fits in the piece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it all blends together really nicely, and I think the fact that like it's kind of separated out into these different worlds kind of helps contribute to that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also like the transition between the worlds too. It's kind of it's not a straight line. It's not a fade. It's kind of like a blockier kind of thing. I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but it's got a really interesting fade in between there.
Yeah, it's almost like a raggedy fade, kind of.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure raggedy's not a word, but because I don't have anything better, it's now going to be called raggedy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And Raggedy Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll question that, but okay.
Question.
Just because it was a title, just because it was a title of something doesn't mean it's a real thing. Like, let's be fair here.
Question your face. Why is it?
Like the word glorf doesn't mean anything. But if I created a character called Glorf, you couldn't say that glorf was a word.
If I say gack to you, do you know what it is?
Oh, we're not bringing up gack again.
I sell gack in my country now.
All right. Well, raggedy. I don't care if it's a real word. It sounds silly. But again, because I don't have a better word, it's technically called raggedy.
Every word sounds silly when you say it many times.
Yeah, there's a term for that.
Book.
Anyways, my third piece was from our Derpy episode, which was episode 57, and it's entitled, aptly, Derpy Hooves by Tarantad0, or Tarantado. And this one I picked because it had like 3 or 4 things that when I look at it are really, really cool artistic choices. And one of the interesting things I liked about this one is the fact that I could actually tell the reasons why the artist chose to do things. You know, a lot of times you make assumptions or you make guesses or things are implied to you, and this one really spoke to me because there were 3 or 4 things that kind of stuck out to me. For example, the texture was put there there was 2 textures. You know, there's that underlying texture, that kind of grungy thing, and then you have the checkerboard texture. But then the checkerboard texture fades away when you get to the character because they want to focus on the character. There's also that kind of ring that's put around the character's head, and the light also brightens the most behind the character. And there's like 3 or 4 of these techniques that are used that are odd and out there and just kind of like, there's no huge rhyme or reason to do it other than the artist went, this will be interesting, this will be interesting, this will be interesting, and putting them all together, which doesn't sound like a great idea, but it came out really well, and it looked like an artist having a ton of fun experimenting with styles and experimenting with techniques and experimenting with textures and lighting and all this different stuff that came together in such an interesting way.
Yeah. That's the thing, like, if you're working on an art piece and you want to try different things, you can do that, and like if they kind of work together, it will come out into something that looks really cool, like this piece. Like, you have a lot of different things that really kind of put the focus at Derpy's face in this piece, and they're all different. Like, you have the lighting in the background, you have the ring, you have the texture and stuff like that, but they all work really well together.
Yeah, and they work towards a similar purpose, which is to bring you into the face, to bring you to that focal point. Obviously, he was quite proud of the face, and so he wanted to kind of focus on it and bring your eyes into it. And I think it's, I have a hard time believing that someone would look at this piece and within the first 10 seconds wouldn't look at that face,
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that, these different drawing forces. It's like there's 3 or 4 different things subtly pulling you, as opposed to one giant thing going, look at me, It's kind of 3 or 4 things that draw your eye in slowly, which is a cool little thing that was done there.
Yeah, it's a different styling. Like, you have some pieces that will really focus on the lighting to draw your eye in, which works well on like more realistic scenes, I guess, or like scenes with backgrounds and stuff. But this is like a standalone derpy flying piece, and it works really well.
It makes a sort of generic looking pony into something more than that, with the shading and the effects and the backgrounds and the textures, that sort of thing. Whereas if it was just a pony, if it was just derpy by itself, it wouldn't be as interesting as it is with the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at something that you've made and you think, this kind of looks kind of boring, try playing with effects and stuff like that. I mean,
just have fun with it.
It's the benefit of digital art. If you don't like it, just Control Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, add some stuff to it, maybe remove some stuff, see how it goes. You know, you have that benefit of having digital art, like you were saying, where you can just pick something out and delete it, and it's not a permanent thing, you know. So, yeah.
Yep.
So those were our each of our 3 favorites from this year in no particular order. So now what we're going to go on to is our fourths, kind of our pieces that we haven't featured but would like to, or just that we liked, you know, for whatever reason. It's kind of like our, you know, this is an interesting piece that we wanted to bring up that we haven't before. So we'll go in the same order here that we just did. So we'll go Atmospark, Flutter Guy, and then myself. But you know, we'll talk about these ones a little bit more in depth, perhaps. But you know, we'll still kind of keep it open because we might want to feature these again in the future at some point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these pieces are things that we might want to feature in the future, or things that we haven't featured just because they haven't come up yet, or there's not really a theme that would fit well with them or anything like that. So
yeah,
you might see some of these pop up in the future again.
Probably more than likely, seeing as we want to feature them in something.
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, Atmospark, go ahead.
I will start. Okay. So, mine that I picked is called Anything for You, Madame Leflower by Karzani. This is currently my desktop wallpaper, just so everybody is aware. I love this piece. It's just everything about it just embodies crazy, and it's fantastic. Like, you got the bright greenish sort of background, which you don't really see that often, and you got the bright splotches of what look like paint on that. It reeks of chaos. And then you've got Pinkie Pie with that creepy looking stare. Her eyes aren't derped, which is good because it would make it probably look a little bit strange, but you got her with the straight hair instead of the poofy hair, which is what you see in that episode where she goes nuts, which was episode 25 of season 1. One of my favorites. Everything, and then she's giving cake to Madame Leflower. Everything about this is just crazy happy. Not really, really happy, like not crazy happy as in really, really happy, but crazy as in insane happy. And I love it.
Yeah, she does kind of have that. It's weird because, you know, just based on the background, I think, because there's also another version of this one with an actual background on it. You guys are going to have to go look that one up yourself. But you know, it's funny how the context can kind of change things, and the background itself can change things from just being like, oh, normal day with a pony who happens to be giving a cake to a flower. Well, that's kind of weird, but you know, whatever. But when you add the background in there, it's like, oh no, she's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, she's absolutely insane. Like, that's just bordering on insane there, and then we've passed that line.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's definitely the background that makes it crazy for me.
Well, it's nice to see the homage to the episode itself, because they did that a couple of times where she very tweaked
inspired.
Out.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Pinkie's expression in this piece. It's just so adorable.
Yeah,
and
right.
Karzani does that like all the time with his pieces, with like where the mouth is just the upturned muzzle and stuff.
Yep, like the end of the nose.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that last week. I don't remember who the artist was in particular, but it's kind of that. It was that. No. We were talking about that Fluttershy piece with Angel on top of the tree.
Yes.
And how she kind of had just, you know, it's just one stroke to encompass the nose and the mouth. It's a very implied mouth. And you know, this is another example of that. We see it all the time with different artists, and it's a really interesting thing because you don't think about it that often, and it's so non-realistic, but it really does imply a smile, even though technically there is none. You know, it's mouthless.
Yeah. But your eye puts it there, or your head puts it there. I also like.
Yeah, your brain puts it there.
I also like what Karzani's done with Pinkie's hair, like the top part of her hair. It's not flat against her head like you would expect it to be in most pieces. It's poofy, and it just gives her a whole nother level of awesome.
Yeah,
I do like that poofy.
It's not quite. Now, I wouldn't say that's really show accurate because that doesn't really follow the kind of hairline that you would normally see, but I do like it because it makes it look better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm okay with people taking liberties with, artistic liberties with the show in order to make their art piece look better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Her hair is in the show when it's straight, it's very like rigid and just straight. In this piece, Karzani has put in some like strands of hair to kind of accentuate her craziness. It's like, there's strands that are out of place and stuff. I mean, Pinky's normal hair is crazy anyway, but yeah, this is a different type of crazy.
This was actually uploaded, what was it, July 3rd, 2012, so it's quite old. And still amazing.
Mm-hmm. We should do a Pinkamena theme. Or we should do a Madame Lafleur theme.
I think we've got a couple things in front of our list before that
Pinky's
one.
Imaginary Friends theme. Like Rocky.
How about like party hats?
All right.
Rocky and Tom episode.
We've hit rock bottom here. So let's move on to the next one.
Okay. So the piece that I chose that I absolutely adore, but we have not featured yet, is called Once Upon a Time by Cosmic Unicorn. And I don't know. I love this piece. The colors in it are amazing. And it's the mixture of colors and the whole contrast between the left and the right side, between the dark Nightmare Moon and the light Celestia. And, on the dark side, obviously, you have the purples, the cooler colors, the blues, the blacks. And, like, you can obviously see all the stars and whatnot. And on the Celestia side, you have, like, these bright, vibrant nebulae with planets and stars and everything. And it's just this whole clash. It's really well done. And Cosmic Unicorn does a lot of really nice pieces, but this one is actually one of my backgrounds on my computer right now, just because I love it.
Cosmic Unicorn is amazing.
Yeah, she's got a great grasp of what she's doing, and a lot of different pieces grasp people in different ways. Personally, this one isn't really my favorite of hers, mostly because I kind of giggle when I look at the middle. I really do enjoy the background, and I think it's, as always, she does a spectacular job of putting in details and making it look just fabulous. And like all of the hair and stuff, it looks great, and I love, like you're saying, the colors and stuff. But I look at the middle, and I just see two horses that have accidentally hit each other in spaceflight and who are making weird horse noises, and I just kind of giggle. So unfortunately, for some reason, my brain can't get past that. But I do think, it's very well done. And if I kind of put a finger over the faces, then I do enjoy the backgrounds and kind of the colors.
How do you know that isn't what actually happened?
Maybe.
Maybe they were like... like Luna was trying to lower the moon and Celestia was trying to raise the sun, and like they crashed mid-air and,
I think this one is actually my favorite Cosmic Unicorn piece. Well, when it was uploaded, crappy Unicorn, because that's what the watermark is in the bottom right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how old this one was. I came across
very old, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost 2 years old.
Yeah, it looks much better when you view it at full resolution, though. It's all much sharper. I love,
for sure.
I love like space wallpapers and stuff like that, and this is just absolutely amazing. Everything about this, the colors, the way that their hair is like intertwining with each other. There's like a random lightning bolt joining their two horns because they're fighting, and there's even teeth in there, and what you said, random horse noises. But everything about this is just amazing.
Yeah,
it's like she's gone and taken a space photo and digitized it and colored it. It's incredible.
Yeah. This is actually, I think, one of her more earlier pony pieces.
March 2012.
Yeah. So, and she's done a lot of art since then, a lot of really good art since then. But this piece, I don't know, there's just something about like the whole layout of the piece and the colors and the stylings of like the manes and the tails and the wings that I just really enjoy.
Yeah.
I think almost all of us own a painting by Cosmic Unicorn. Everybody except for you, Atmos Spark. So
we have to fix that.
I would own this.
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't a painting,
know.
but you know, if there's nothing else that'll get you to know that we quite enjoy Cosmic Unicorns pieces, it's the fact that we all own paintings. It's not just prints; we own paintings from her. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Well, finally, come down to the last art piece of today, which is my fourth piece. And it is called Twilight Magic by Miltvein. And unlike the other two, this one's actually fairly new. So it's quite reasonable why it's not been on the show, because you know it's not something that is you know, has been around for a long time. We just haven't gotten to. This one was quite new and is something that I'm probably going to feature sooner rather than later. But it's a great piece with Twilight kind of you know, doing magic in this circular way. And I don't know what it is about this piece, but it really, really grabs my attention. And it's a combination of, you know, realism and cartoon, you know, bringing cartoons more to life in more of a 3D sense without making it seem weird, without getting that kind of uncanny valley look to it. As well as some great composition, you know, that circular kind of spiral composition going inwards towards the character, great magic detail, fantastic wing and feather detail. There's a lot I'd like to say about this piece, but I actually want to save most of it for when we feature it. But yeah, I really enjoy so much about this piece.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something, but I didn't know whether I should wait till we actually feature it or not.
No, just say it. We'll say things again when we feature it.
Yeah, I don't know. That spiral that she's got going on, it's kind of strange, because if you look to the bottom ones, it's going away from her, but if you look at the top, it's going like into her, which is kind of it's interesting. It goes from her wing joint at her body around and out towards the bottom right.
Well, it's coming out of her horn.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
The spiral's not.
No.
The spiral's going from the wing joint.
No.
Well,
No.
the spiral is coming from the wing joint, but the sparks are coming from her horn.
The sparks are coming from
but
the horn.
the spiral composition, like
Yeah.
Right. But the reason why the things are going in opposite directions is because because it's the magic is coming out of her horn.
Right.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder. I don't know if this is actually a golden spiral, like with the golden ratio.
it looks like it.
But it does look very close if it isn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really, really like that whole composition in this piece.
Maybe when we actually feature it, I'll get Burned to put like a layer over it, or something like that, and see if it is.
Yeah. And it's neat how her tail is also involved in the spiral.
Yeah.
She's like very self-contained within the spiral, which is interesting.
Yeah. I actually, you know, and I'm also a really big supporter of Twilicorn. I think I've actually liked Twilight more as a character after she has become an alicorn. It's a really interesting thing, and I know a lot of people will probably go to me. I don't
not so
care.
much
So
anymore.
this is another kind of maybe. But you know, I do enjoy, and I enjoy wings and pieces when they're done well too. So you know,
Yeah, I love.
it's got a lot going for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like on the show, wings are fairly basic, but in a lot of pieces that we've seen, you know, people put a lot of time and energy and effort into making these really elaborate wings, and this is not an exception to that. This artist puts a lot of
Well, it's I guess it's because of that thing that I said earlier. The wings make the character. They make it a Pegasus, and like a horn makes a unicorn, a horse, a unicorn. So that's why in drawings, a lot of people accentuate those things, because it makes the character the character.
Yeah.
Like Rainbow Dash is a Pegasus, so you always do wings.
Big wings.
Yeah, Rarity always has the horn, so you do the horn thing. Twilight has
Or
both.
magic in some sort.
Magic. I'd say magic is more Twilight, so you do like lots of big magic-y effects with Twilight.
And now you involve the wings.
Yeah. A good example of that is Secret Pony. She does huge wings, and they look fantastic.
All right. Well, that was our pieces that we hope to see soon, or something like that. It wasn't a great category, but whatever.
If only we had contacts to get them on the show, those pieces.
Somehow. This ended up working out quite nicely for time. I wasn't sure exactly how it would go in terms of timing, but this ended up working out quite nice for time, which again is probably a good thing that Burned wasn't here then, because otherwise we'd have to shorten it down by quite a bit.
Aww.
But why doesn't everyone who's watching this let us know in the comments or in the live stream? Let us know what your favorite piece was from the last year, and yeah, we can come together and we can kind of take a look at all of our favorite pieces, because I think everyone has. Art definitely speaks to people differently, and it even speaks to individual people in different ways. I remember, the way that I picked out my pieces this episode was just looking through the art that we had in all of the episodes in our favorites folders, and just seeing which one stands out to me, which one pops out and says and grabs my attention, not just like in the standard way with really big lighting or a big contrast or anything, but what's something I look at and I instinctively go, I like that. And so I picked out like 5 or 6 of those and then narrowed it down. So why don't you try doing that? Just see which ones stand out for you, and you might learn a thing or two about what you like in art and the interesting things like that.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, same. It's really interesting to see like what everyone enjoys in art, and going through like all of our art that we've featured over the past year or whatever, you can kind of see what each of us finds important or just really likes in art. And so, try that with yourself. Go through and find a couple of art pieces from the hundreds of art that we've featured on the show. And like, you might discover that, oh, I really like this kind of style, or I really like emotions in a piece, or I really just like cute pieces or something like that. So,
And I think there's a lot to be said too about the fact that you might not know what draws you to all these pieces, but by looking at a bunch of these in a group, you can kind of tell and maybe discern what you like about pieces. Like when I looked through my pieces, I looked a lot at the fact that they all had very interesting additions to them. They did things that not a lot of artists would normally do, like with different styles being clashed into one, or a lot of textures or whatever. So that might be an interesting aspect to look at, to just look at the pieces that you do pick and say, well, why do I like those ones so much? And what's the common theme between them? And it doesn't necessarily have to define your kind of what you like in art, because obviously I like a lot of expressionistic stuff, a lot of stuff that makes me feel a certain emotion, a lot of stuff that conveys emotions a lot, and my pieces didn't really necessarily do that. So it doesn't have to define your artistic history or your artistic preferences. It's just an interesting little thing to look at.
Yeah.
So a couple of fun facts about this episode as we were looking through what we picked. We didn't pick a single art piece from the same episode. So all 9 of our art pieces that we picked out as the top ones all came from 9 different episodes. 8 of the 9 came from the second half of the year, which is really interesting. That's not true, actually. Sorry. 7 out of the 9 came from the second half of the year, but one of those is episode 51, so close enough.
Very close, but yeah.
So we obviously... I'm not sure if I would attribute that to changing tastes, or perhaps the fact that these are more recent in our memory, but we didn't just go by memory, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, we went through all of them. I don't know.
I think it might be a little bit of changing tastes. Over time we kind of adapt as we see so much art. Our tastes for things kind of adapt. It's interesting to think about.
The other interesting thing is nobody picked the same artist as each other.
That's true.
That's true. We had 9 different artists. 12 technically, if you count all of them together.
Yeah.
And not all of them are well known. A lot of them are sort of small.
Yeah. I would kind of be interested to see what Burned would pick. Maybe we'll do a quick little thing next week.
Yeah. Is that going to be the entire episode next week?
I think so.
No. I'll make him do it in like 5 minutes and just mention the pieces.
Yeah.
I'll make him mention the pieces, but not go into them too much. Yeah, maybe we'll do that for next week.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Coll.
All right. Does somebody want to do plugs?
I can do plugs because I didn't do it last week because I wasn't here.
Oh yeah. By the way, we're not doing questions because we spent so much time on the art.
Yeah,
but we will get back to them next week.
I'll just do plugs slowly to get it up to an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do a bit we haven't done an in-depth one for a while.
All right, sure.
Go ahead.
It's the beginning of the new year. Let's go all out on the plugs.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so we have a DeviantArt page, which is cutieartcrusaders.deviantart.com. If you go there, you can see current episode. You can also have a look through their favorites folder. You can see all of the stuff that we featured on this episode, also previous episodes. So if you want to see them in high definition, you can go see them there. We also have links to our individual pages on that page, so you can go and favorite us and watch us and talk to us, etc., etc. We have what else do we have? Email. We have an email account, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com. Send us an email. We check it usually a couple times a week. If you have anything that you feel like you want to show us, feature on the show, or want to just show us in general, you can either send us a note through the Cutie Art Crusaders account, or to our individual accounts on DeviantArt, or through the email. Also, we need some more questions because we are running low. There was no new questions this week. That kind of annoyed me. Not really annoyed me. It was kind of
Annoying.
It didn't really annoy me. It was more,
Disappointed.
Aw.
There you go.
Yeah, disappointed. Please send in some more questions. If you do send us an email, please put what you're sending us in the subject line. So if you're sending out questions, what questions in the subject? If it's art recommendations, put art or something somewhere in the title. Because Gmail sorts it out for us and it makes it a lot easier to look to find and look at, and more likely to be seen on the show. We have a Facebook page, which is just Cutie Art Crusaders on Facebook. There's normally some stuff happens on there. I don't know. Give us a like. We like being liked.
You get updates for like when the episode is airing and when it comes out.
Yeah. That does still happen, doesn't it? We also have a Twitter, so you can tweet us and like us on Twitter, which is @CutieArtCrusade, because Twitter is silly and doesn't let us have the RS on the end of it. So go give us a follow on there, and you can see stuff. I think all of us, bar you, Rainbow Plasma, have a Twitter account individually.
Well, it's because this one's turned into my Twitter account.
Yeah, that's right.
I've recently got one.
So we'll post extra stuff there. Occasionally I'll post like a few things while I'm editing, or I'll ask a question or something, or I'll interact with you guys via Twitter. But for the most part, the social media stuff is just to let you guys know when the episode's airing and when it comes out. We try to put notifications on the day that it's airing.
Yeah. We also have a YouTube page, which pretty much just contains a couple of extra side videos and a playlist of all our episodes. But every now and then something goes up.
Yep.
So yeah, those are all the places you can find us.
Yep.
All right.
We should set up a Twitter account. Oh, not a Twitter account, a Tumblr account.
We shouldn't.
And an eHarmony account.
Now that I agree with that. Wasn't it Match.com?
Match.com.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was Match.com.
Match.com/Cutie-Art-Crusaders.
Yeah.
Do it.
Is that a thing? I'm going to go look at that right now.
Probably one of our crazy fans have done it.
You guys aren't crazy. You're amazing.
Okay, I just want to point out, we specifically didn't point out fan art this episode because we love every piece of fan art that we get.
Mm-hmm. It is true.
Good point.
Yeah.
So
and we featured some fan art last week, which was our holiday theme.
Yeah.
And we featured fan art throughout, just kind of mentioning it and whatnot.
And last year was all fan art.
But yeah. So we will put up our next week's theme right now. So this is what our theme is going to be for next week. And you should come back and so you can watch it.
Yeah, you should.
And
also
stick around.
Because we have a spoiler cast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do every single week where we talk about a new episode of Ponies.
We talk about ponies.
For about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Whether or not you're on the live stream or on YouTube, welcome back Burned next week. We'll finally be back from Germany and finally be editing again, you lazy little... So yeah, that's it for this episode. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
I'm Flutterguy317.
I am Admiral Spark.
And we'll see you guys next week, or for our spoiler cast right after this. Bye.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to the 7th spoiler cast done by the Cutie Art Crusaders for Season 4 of My Little Pony, Today we'll be spoiler casting Season 4, Episode 8, Rarity Takes Manhattan. But first, my name is FlutterGuy317, and today I am joined by Rainbow Plasma.
Hello.
And Atmospark. So this was an interesting episode. It was Rarity focused, and as I think a lot of the fandom is realizing, Rarity hasn't really had an episode since, I think Rainbow Plasma, you had the date?
That is correct. So I looked it up because I was interested, because I was thinking about, Rarity-centric episodes, and it's been a while since then. And so I looked it up, and I found out the last time there was a Rarity episode was Season 2, Sweet and Elite, which a couple of fun facts about that. That is 763 days ago as of recording, which is the Saturday that it came out. So the time in between the two episodes was 763 days, which is over 2 years. In fact, the last time that Rarity had a Rarity-centric episode was Saturday, December the 3rd, 2011.
Wow.
We didn't even know about TwilightCon then.
That would put that episode before either Flutterguy or myself had even watched My Little Pony in the first place.
Yeah.
So this was the first live Rarity episode that either one of us had seen. It was quite shocking to me to think about that. But it's been quite a long time. So Rarity fans rejoice.
Yay.
She's finally got her own episode of this season, unlike last season, apparently.
Yeah, I know. Poor Rarity, she gets left out.
Her last episode was the episode that Becoming Popular came out with.
That is a fantastic song, though.
And
so I'm gonna let it slide.
So long ago, though.
It's my headcanon that either A, she was working on her dresses for 2 years, or B, that the song was so awesome that she just decided to take a break from episodes.
Well, I mean, it hasn't been like 2 years in the show, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't think anyone's formulated.
We've seen her. We have seen her. She just hasn't had an episode.
Well, we have seen her.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't think it runs one for one with real life. I'm not sure anyone's set up a timeline yet, but people have even shown that some episodes aren't even in the order that they're shown.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough about timelines. This isn't Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was watching this, what did you guys think of the faces? There were so many new faces.
Oh my god, yeah.
All of the new expressions.
It's interesting because this is the second time we've seen a custom pony in the season. The first is Harshwinny, who we saw last season, because she does all these crazy expressions and stuff. And the second would be the what was the name of the pony who was in charge of the fashion week? I can't remember.
You mean this episode? Oh, jeez.
Yeah. We just watched it already.
Prim Hemline.
Prim Hemline, yeah. It's interesting to see that they've taken liberties of creating new pony models.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have since right back at the start as well. I mean, they did it with what's her name?
Photo Finish.
Photo Finish. That's the one.
Right.
And it's not just every now and then episodes. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, what we found when we were looking through, because the writer of this show was, or not the show, the writer of this episode was David Polsky, who made a bunch of other episodes as well throughout all the seasons so far. And the thing that we found that was kind of interesting that in common was most of his episodes introduced some pretty strong alternative characters, non-repeating characters, or non-comic characters who have a lot of roles in the show. So for example, he had, I don't think, that doesn't count. He had Over a Barrel, which obviously had Brayburn and the Buffaloes as very strong characters that weren't normal. He had Keep Calm and Flutter On, which had Discord, which isn't exactly a normal character. He had Games Ponies Play, which had the infamous Miss Peachbottom and Miss Harshwinny. Those two characters were quite prominent in that one. To a certain extent, Daring Don't was kind of that, strong character that wasn't a normal part of the show. And, in this one, we had 3 of them this time. We had Prim Hemline, we had
Coco Pamel, which was the assistant.
Yeah.
Right, and Suri Polo Mare, which is the the antagonist of the episode.
There was also there was even more than that. There was the receptionist. There was the guy.
Right, but I wouldn't consider those like really essential. Like obviously there's other characters who have lines, and that comes up quite often. But like when you think of like the essential ones, I'd say like Surrey Polo Mare and Coco Pommel. You know, those two together were definitely two like main characters in this episode.
Well, yeah, I mean you have the main characters, then you have the supporting characters who I would put like Coco in there, and then you have like the background characters, which is everyone else.
Right.
So,
but yeah, it seems to be a common theme with this writer at least. So it's interesting to see, and I think I really have enjoyed kind of the additions to. I mean, everybody likes Brayburn, and the Miss Harshwini is obviously coming to her own this season. And so it was really interesting to see even more characters come up like that. He's not afraid to add voice roles and expand the universe a little bit, and I like that.
Did you see
Joel?
Huh?
Yeah, sorry. Just going off of what you were saying about expressions, Rarity had some really killer expressions this episode. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There were some great screenshots, even with a lot of expressions we might not have seen, but were kind of like in betweens. There's a lot of great expressions, like when she's hyperventilating. There was a really great one in there, and well, I mean that comes down to a lot of the more extreme personalities. You'll see that, like the Rainbow Dashes and the Rarities. When you have extreme moments like that, it lends to extreme facial expressions. So you'll more often than not see that with Rarity and with Rainbow Dash for sure, because they're the more extreme personalities.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, did anybody else notice the huge amount of Bonbon recolors in the background? There were so many of them.
I don't really pay attention to background.
Okay, well, I was watching it with someone who does, and there was lots and lots and lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good color combination, so...
No, it wasn't. It was Bonbon recolors. So it was like a great painting with blue hair in the shape of Bonbon.
Oh. I mean, they reuse assets anyway, so...
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
What about Catbutt? Do you see the pony with Grumpy Cat as a cutie mark?
Yes.
Now, I know the fandom's going to freak out over that. I just don't see... I don't see the point. Like it's cool and that's interesting, but like, I don't know. I see this all the time where people will take a little thing from the show and then like focus on it. And I mean, look, the fact of the matter is what you take out of the show is what you take out of it. So I'm not going to stop anyone from, enjoying what they want to enjoy. But I also, keep seeing it. I don't know. It's just, it seems weird to me that like, we have this episode, right? And I think it was a great episode with a lot of really cool points and a lot of diverse characters. And, the main characters are so awesome. And, we come out of it and all I hear about is Catbutt. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's funny. But, like, what about this and what about that? Like...
Really? I only saw like one or two things about Catbutt. All the rest that I saw was about the Mad Men ponies.
Yeah, there was Mad Men pony
I have
references
no idea
and stuff.
What Mad Men is, so...
I think wasn't it a show or something?
I didn't really notice that either. So,
I mean, it's something that ties the fandom together, I guess. Like, because in season 1 we had the what was it? The Big Lebowski characters in the bowling alley and whatnot, and it's just it's a reference to an outside thing that people can relate to, and it's fun, and I don't know. I enjoyed seeing Grumpy Cat Pony.
So did I.
I guess I focus a lot more on like the main characters of stuff. So I really enjoy talking about main characters. Like the main 6 talking about stuff. Like don't get me wrong. Like a lot of minor characters are cool, but like at the end of the day, the show's about a certain like set of characters, and so I guess I kind of just focus on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for memes, so and you know that.
Yeah.
So like the Twyla Kane. Or like Grumpy Cat,
the memes.
Pony. Yeah,
that just makes me roll my eyes.
I know. You can't stand me.
It's not that. It's just I don't know. I feel sometimes I feel like when people put that much emphasis on this stuff, like it almost feels like people are ignoring the fact that like it was a good episode overall, and it's more like Twyla Kane. And it's like okay.
Yeah. I mean,
but like I said, like people enjoy different stuff, so I'm not going to stop anyone from enjoying what they, like if you want to look at background ponies and stuff, then it's no big deal. But I mean, Flutter Guy, we had a chat before this, and I was talking about the fact that I think people a lot of times take things too literally when they're looking at the show. So I guess this kind of transitions right into what I was going to talk about, anyways. So why don't I start with that? So at the very end of this episode, I know we're skipping ahead here, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about, but I wanted to talk about the fact that at the very end of the episode, there was a gift that was given to Rarity, right? From, what was her name?
From Coco.
Right.
Coco Pamel.
Yeah.
So she was given a gift, right? And she took it back to Ponyville, and that was the kind of the way that the show ended on that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will bet anybody money that was our first key. And I am surprised that I have not seen more of this. I thought it was really, because it was really obvious to me. I was surprised I haven't seen more talk about this. From the talk that I've seen so far, people are kind of confused about what that thread is, because it had that kind of like flash at the end. And I mean, I don't think that flash is necessarily related to the keys, but when I was watching the episode when that came up, I realized that they're probably not looking for actual keys. The keys are going to come out as like representations of themselves. It's like they are the keys. So when they need to open but when they need to open the box, then the keys will come out in different forms. So I think, because that thread was a representation directly of Rarity's generosity and generosity in general, that when the time comes and the box needs to be opened for whatever reason, then that will either transform into a key, or it will help like unlock a key or something. That I think that's the first key. That's I'm 90% sure that is the first key.
It is a good theory, and if you go back, something else about that thread, if you go back and pause the episode at that moment where you see the flash, and you can see all the thread that's there. There's 7 threads. Each one of them is a different color, and the last one is a color of each pony, and then the last one is that rainbow one. So I don't know whether you noticed it or not.
Yeah.
So it's a friendship thread.
Yeah,
right.
I saw that post on Reddit. It's interesting that all the other threads were pony colors.
I didn't think about it before, but I highly doubt there's just going to be keys hiding around that they're going to happen to find. I think they're going to write it in a way that says like the keys are within all of you or whatever, and it's going to come out via these gifts or the things that we find. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like more of these objects that are in the episodes where the ponies kind of like discover things about themselves. I mean, hell, we had an entire song in this episode dedicated to her element.
Exactly.
Like to me that screams that this element was about Rarity and being her element.
Exactly. I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It was, and she was going on a lot about her generosity in this one, and then there was a lot of elements in this one because was it Applejack with her being honest at Rarity type thing.
Yeah.
And I knew your element is honesty and everything.
That was fantastic.
And there was also that.
Yeah, you were terrible.
There was also that that quip at the right before the song where Rainbow Dash says like, "Pony's just singing at a drop of the hat. Like, who does that?" And then immediately a song starts.
Yeah,
which is great. It's just great.
Yeah. Before we transition into fun things in the episode, though, I kind of want to touch on what you were talking about with the thread. We've seen quite a few cliffhangers so far in this season. Not really cliffhangers, but just like suspense moments at the end of episodes, like the Fang last week and the Shadow in the Castlevania episode and stuff.
Right.
But this seems like it might be slightly bigger, just because Rarity's keeping the thing, and like there was a reference to it at the actual event with the
sash, like the
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. You take for it what you will, but it could either be just another one of those like suspense things at the end, because I don't think, the Fluttershy Fang thing might not come up again. It might. There's a very slim chance of it coming up again, but I don't know. But this might have something to do with the whole box thing.
I wouldn't have said that I wouldn't be so sure of it if it wasn't for the entire episode's theme. And like we were saying before, the fact that it was all about her element. Previous episodes of Rarity, I don't remember exactly, but I'm fairly certain that previous episodes of Rarity haven't been so centered around her element before.
No.
And so I wouldn't be surprised. And if another episode this season comes up that directly deals with with the whole idea and problems that come with someone else's element, then I'm gonna change my prediction to be like 100%. Because if something comes up, like, I mean, Applejack has a lot of these characters are all three-dimensional, right? They're not just their elements, so they're not just gonna have problems with generosity if you're Rarity. You know, like Applejack, for example, isn't gonna have problems with being honest because she's a three-dimensional character, so she's had a lot of different problems with a lot of different things, right? But if there's an episode, for example, let's say like an Applejack episode that comes up that directly deals with honesty, that says the word honesty more than twice in the script, and then has an object at the end, then I 100% guarantee that's what it is. And so that's why, because there was it was like put out there, like, this is the generosity episode. The song was called Generosity. Like, it's gotta be it. I have this huge feeling that is it, and I'm totally willing to take bets on that.
Yeah. No, I agree. If we see another episode like that related to a different pony, then 100% you're right.
I would not be surprised. Although they might not come soon, because like I said, they're probably going to group them up closer to the end of the season.
Well, we're still waiting on the Equestria Games too.
That's true. Which is probably also going to come closer to the end of the season.
Probably going to be the finale, so just saying. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the two events will probably be connected at some point.
And there'll probably be some sort of big villain, and then they'll have to, they'll be like, oh my gosh, we don't have the elements of harmony, what are we going to do? And then they go and they try to look at the lock box, and they say, oh, we don't have anything, and then something magical activates, and woo, then the elements come out of them, and they unlock the box, and something's in them. I don't know what's in the box.
Dude, do you write this show or what?
I totally
future spoilers, man.
I totally get where the writers are coming from, and it sounds like such a sound thing to do when it comes to writing the show. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I'm gonna guess that it's not as straight cut as that. I'm guessing that's
probably. I'm just making those predictions are much less sure for me, but I just have this really, really, really big feeling that thread is the first key.
Yeah,
and I'm calling it right now that thread's the first key that we saw. I might be wrong, actually. Maybe there was a key shown before and it wasn't as obvious. But I think that was the first key. Anyways.
Anyhow, yeah.
There was a song.
Perhaps an app.
There was a song.
That. There's a key.
No. A key had nothing to do with her kindness.
Her tooth is a key.
Her tooth is the key. She'll just bite the box. Honestly.
I mean, why not?
And then they all become our loved ones. And live happily ever after.
Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah,
I like the song.
Yeah,
it was very
really
Broadway-esque.
Well, I mean, we mentioned last week that the show is going in so many different directions in terms of styles of stuff, and it's just, I mean, it's almost like a Rarity style now because it was similar. I feel to some of Rarity, but every single song is so different, and that's what's really incredible. There's been a lot of songs recently, actually.
Rarity is kind of a Broadway style pony.
Yeah.
Because she's very flashy, very showy.
Very high class.
And so it makes sense. Yeah. So it makes sense for her songs to be like that. Like Art of the Dress, not as Broadway-y, but it's still very poppy, very catchy.
And it has very similar instruments that are used too, if you notice between different things like that. They're very similar instruments. It's not very often you see something, I feel like every single character has their own kind of feel for songs. And then there's exceptions, like last week's, which was obviously very different. But that comes with the fact that they've all got their own singing voices, and, different voices blend with different styles, better or worse. Which reminds me, because we haven't really heard a Rarity song in a while. Just a great job overall by Kazumi Evans, who's the singing voice for Rarity. Just a fantastic job. I mean, we always talk about the other ponies because they don't sing as much, so you always root for the underdog, right? But I mean, we should just put it out there, just a fantastic job. But Rarity's got a great singing voice.
Yep. So we're kind of coming close on time here. So do you guys have anything else to wrap up this spoiler cast? I mean, it was overall a really fun episode.
Yeah, I liked it.
Again.
I liked it.
I mean, season 4 has been a lot of really fun episodes, and this one in particular seems to have a lot of impact on the overall, overarching theme of this season.
Guarantee you, That's a key.
Whereas like the other episodes, like for the past couple of weeks, have been,
Bit of fun.
I guess, kind of standalone, bit of fun episodes. Like, yeah. So I don't know. We'll just have to see and wait.
Oh,
and see.
fun fact: Tabitha, according to her Twitter page, thought that she was being written out of the series in this episode because if you listen to the episode, just like the speaking parts of the script, she never mentions that she wouldn't be doing the costumes because she offers Coco the job, right? Hey, why don't you do these? You know,
Yeah.
What do you say about that?
It sounds like, do these with me.
Right.
Like,
And so
not-
she
No,
thought she was
it-
being written out of the show.
I got you go do my job,
Right. Yeah.
and
but
like
with
I'll
the-
check
with the-
in on you every now and then or something.
Yeah,
or
but,
like
but
she-
apparently with
Go on.
I was gonna be or like she's giving Coco her first real big job as a fashion designer rather than an apprentice.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see how she could read that script and be like, "Well, I'm in Manhattan now. They're writing up my character." But apparently she was kind of worried about that. But no. The writers
No.
would never write out one of the main six, especially not halfway in
Oh,
a
I
season.
know. With a box with 6 keys. I mean, come on.
The Spike's the sixth element.
Maybe they would. Maybe that is the key, and they wrote her out so that the other 5 now have to find 5 keys.
I don't know. We've already got the key. Screw you.
Yeah.
See you later.
We'll just leave you here.
Anyways.
Yeah, we'll see. Future episodes. Yay. Alright, so thank you guys for watching this spoiler cast, and we hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you'll join us next week for another spoiler cast, which will be for episode 9 of season 4. My name is Flutterguy317.
I'm Rainbow Plasma.
I'm Atmospark.
And we'll see you guys later.
More ponies.
Bye.